Welcome to Think It. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? You've seen the headlines, inflation soaring, layoffs spreading, and a nation asking, what went wrong? But beyond the surface, there's a deeper story. Today, we're breaking down the real numbers behind the U.S. economic crisis of 2024, revealing truths that mainstream media isn't talking about. Let's start with inflation, something every American feels daily. Whether you're at the grocery store, the gas station, or paying your rent, the impact of inflation is unavoidable. The official inflation rate sits at around 6% in 2024, but for many, it feels far worse. This number doesn't always capture the full picture of what people experience in their day-to-day lives. Why? Essentials like food, housing, and healthcare have seen double-digit price increases. These are the costs that hit hardest because they are unavoidable expenses for every household. Food prices alone have skyrocketed over 20% in the past year, leaving many households cutting back on basic necessities. Families are finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet, often resorting to cutting coupons or buying in bulk to save money. So, what's behind these rising costs? It's a combination of factors: lingering supply chain disruptions from the pandemic, which have caused delays and shortages in many products. Global geopolitical tensions that drove energy prices up have also played a significant role. When energy prices rise, the cost of transporting goods increases, which in turn raises prices for consumers, and the Federal Reserve's aggressive rate hikes that, while designed to cool the economy, may have added fuel to the fire. These rate hikes make borrowing more expensive, which can slow down economic growth, but also lead to higher costs for businesses and consumers alike. The ripple effects of inflation are felt in every corner of life. People are having to make tough choices, whether it's delaying major purchases, cutting back on leisure activities, or even dipping into savings to cover everyday expenses. Community support systems like food banks and shelters are seeing increased demand as more people struggle to afford basic necessities. This highlights the broader social impact of rising costs and the importance of community resilience. Addressing inflation requires a multifaceted approach, involving both short-term relief measures and long-term strategies to stabilize the economy. Economists and policymakers are continuously debating the best ways to tackle this complex issue. Despite the challenges, many are finding creative solutions and leaning on community initiatives to get by. It's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of people facing tough economic times. Unemployment numbers seem stable on paper, hovering around 4.2%. This figure might seem reassuring at first glance, suggesting a relatively healthy job market. But those numbers don't tell the full story. Beneath the surface, there are complexities and nuances that these statistics fail to capture. In 2024, we're seeing a significant shift in the job market. The landscape is changing rapidly, influenced by technological advancements, economic policies, and global events. High-paying tech jobs are disappearing as companies cut costs. Major tech firms are downsizing, leading to a wave of layoffs that is unprecedented in recent history. Over 200,000 tech workers have been laid off since the start of the year, and the trickle-down effect is hitting industries from manufacturing to retail. This mass exodus from the tech sector is creating a domino effect, impacting various other sectors. For every job lost in tech, there's a ripple effect. The loss of a single high-paying job can lead to reduced spending in local economies, affecting small businesses and service providers. It's not just programmers out of work, it's also janitors, administrative staff, and local businesses that rely on corporate clients. The impact is widespread, touching every corner of the community. The official unemployment rate doesn't account for underemployment or the millions of Americans forced into gig work just to make ends meet. Many are taking on multiple jobs, working long hours without benefits or job security. Families are feeling the strain, with many struggling to cover basic expenses like rent, utilities, and groceries. Community support systems such as food banks are seeing increased demand as more people seek assistance. In response, there are efforts to retrain and reskill the workforce. Job training programs and online courses are becoming more popular as people look to adapt to the changing job market. Despite the challenges, there are also opportunities. Some are turning to entrepreneurship, starting their own businesses, or exploring new fields that are emerging in the evolving economy. Communities are coming together to find solutions, with local governments and organizations working to support economic recovery and create new job opportunities. The road ahead is uncertain, but resilience and innovation are paving the way for a brighter future. But one of the most alarming aspects of the U.S. economic crisis in 2024 is debt. The numbers are staggering and continue to climb at an alarming rate, causing widespread concern among economists and policymakers alike. National debt has surged to over $34 trillion. This astronomical figure represents a significant burden on the nation's economy, affecting everything from government spending to social services. The implications of such a massive debt are far-reaching and complex, influencing both domestic and international economic policies. But it's not just the government that's drowning in red ink. Household debt has reached unprecedented levels. Families across the country are feeling the pinch as they struggle to manage their finances. The cost of living has increased, wages have stagnated, and many are finding it difficult to make ends meet. Credit card balances are at an all-time high, with Americans now carrying over $1 trillion in credit card debt. This reliance on credit cards to cover everyday expenses is a clear indicator of the financial strain many are experiencing. The ease of swiping a card belies the long-term consequences of accumulating such high levels of debt. Rising interest rates have made it nearly impossible for families to keep up with payments. As interest rates climb, so do the monthly payments on everything from mortgages to car loans, putting additional pressure on already tight budgets. This has led to a vicious cycle of debt that is difficult to break. What started as manageable debt has spiraled out of control for millions. The stress and anxiety associated with mounting debt can have serious repercussions on mental health and overall well-being. Many individuals find themselves trapped in a cycle of debt that seems impossible to escape. The result? An uptick in bankruptcies and home foreclosures. As more people find themselves unable to meet their financial obligations, the number of bankruptcies has risen sharply. Home foreclosures have also increased, displacing families and disrupting communities. The dream of homeownership, once a cornerstone of the American dream, is slipping out of reach for many. The housing market has become increasingly inaccessible, with rising prices and stricter lending requirements. For many, the prospect of owning a home is now a distant dream, replaced by the harsh reality of financial instability and uncertainty. Amidst all of this turmoil, there's another story: the growing gap between the rich and everyone else. In 2024, the wealth of the top 1% continues to balloon, while the middle class shrinks. Corporate profits remain high, even as wages stagnate and job security fades. This wealth disparity isn't just a social issue, it's an economic one. When so much wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, it weakens overall demand in the economy. People can't spend if they don't have money, and when that happens, the entire economy suffers. So, what is the government doing about all of this? The Federal Reserve has raised interest rates aggressively over the past 2 years to combat inflation. But while higher rates can slow price increases, they also make borrowing more expensive for businesses and consumers. The result? A potential recession looming on the horizon. At the same time, political gridlock in Washington has made it difficult to pass meaningful economic reforms. While there are debates over spending cuts, tax hikes, and stimulus packages, little progress has been made to address the underlying issues driving this crisis. So, where does this leave us? The U.S. economy in 2024 is at a crossroads. We are dealing with the fallout of years of economic policies that prioritized short-term gains over long-term stability. But while the numbers may look bleak, the future isn't set in stone. Change is possible if we face these challenges head-on, through smarter policies, innovative solutions, and a renewed focus on the well-being of every American. The truth behind the numbers reveals an economy in crisis, but also the potential for a new direction. The choice is ours. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues shaping our world. Stay informed.